Welcome in the arena. My name's Allyson Klein, and we're coming to you from AI Infra Summit in Santa Clara. It's a data insights episode, which means Jeniece Wnorowski is with me again. Welcome, Jeniece.
Thank you, Allyson. It's great to be back.
So, Jeniece, we are having the best week in Santa Clara, and we have been interviewing such interesting folks from across practitioners to those who are building the infrastructure to propel. Tell me who we're with today.
It's quite an honor. We actually have Haseeb Budhani, who is the co-founder of Rafay. And welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, ladies. Nice to be here.
So, Haseeb, why don't you introduce yourself? Rafay has never been on the show before, and you are the CEO of the company, obviously a co-founder. Talk a little bit about Rafay. Why do you founded the company, and what position does Rafay play in the AI arena?
Absolutely. So thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it. So my name is Haseeb. I work at Rafay. So Rafay fundamentally was founded to make it easy for developers to consume compute. That was our idea a long time ago. It's just really hard for developers to do their jobs when it comes to infrastructure, cloud, on-prem, doesn't matter. Over the last 6-7 years, we've seen this market shift tremendously. For the last many years, we were focused on Kubernetes management because that was a big thing for a long time. And we spent a lot of time trying to make it easy to manage Kubernetes and deploy applications on top. But as it relates to AI, right, so the use case here is we are finding so many large organizations invest hundreds of millions of dollars buying very expensive infrastructure, and then it takes them a really long time to make it consumable. And even when they do that, in some cases, the experience that the developers expect, because they're all spoiled now, they're used to what Amazon can provide, they want the same thing. And if they don't get it, it's a problem, right? So the question is, how do you deliver a CSP-like experience on infrastructure that you've already purchased perhaps, or purchase and operate, because there are very good reasons to do so, sovereign reasons, sometimes it's just cheaper to do this on-prem. Our software helps those customers make it easy for developers to come and consume this infrastructure so that you have high utilization, developer happiness, better ROI, everybody wins.
So can you expand on that a little bit? Can you share your perspective on the current state of AI and the overall infrastructure adoption, and where are some of the biggest gaps that you see in enterprise today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that when enterprises sort of took on the cloud migration task, right? So many of us did this, right? There's a specific set of skills that we don't need anymore. We don't need to build data centers, right? We don't need to maintain this infrastructure because the public clouds were doing this. But because of AI, there's a number of companies that, for all the right reasons, are repatriating specifically AI workloads, data center reasons, etc. And those companies find themselves in a position where maybe they don't have the talent to do this. So they look for regional GPU cloud providers who can help them solve this problem. But then going back to the point I made earlier, the developers, well, they want the experience they get from GCP and Azure and AWS and others. They want the same. So I want to be able to go to a portal and press a button and start using DeepSeek. Why can't I do that for their infrastructure, but I can do that on Amazon? Yeah, do that. Do that for me, I will use it. And there's enough data that shows now that if you're investing in this infrastructure, in many cases, it actually ends up being cheaper per hour. If you deploy on-prem yourselves, or if you work with the GPU cloud provider, then going to a public cloud, right? So it's sovereignty reasons wise, it's a better sort of bet. It ends up being significantly more cost effective. So the only gap is the developer experience. Let's solve that. And developer experience, by the way, this is not about a website, right? This is not that. The issue is infrastructure has to be composable. And the two examples I always use, I say, imagine if you have two developers, they show up at the same time. One says, I'm going to do some training job. I need 128 GPUs. The other one says, I'm just starting my journey. I need 1 GPU. You have to service both of them at the same time in a self-service way. If you can do that, you are CSP grade. If you cannot do this, you're not CSP grade.
Right.
Rafay helps you become CSP grade on-prem for your own users or for your cloud so you can sell to companies in your region.
Now, this sounds great, but we know that people are pouring billions into GPUs, and yet their utilization rates are very low. Tell me about why this is such a persistent problem in today's infrastructure and in today's cloud stacks, for lack of a better term. And what is missing in terms of orchestration tools or even developer access capabilities?
So I think that it's amazing. All these things are tied together now, right? So if developers don't have a great experience, they're not going to use it, which means you're only going to get the kind of customer who's looking for a deal, right? So who's that? These are large startups sometimes, or companies who are building models. They come for a window of time and then they take off. And they come and they'll use 2,000, like massive numbers of GPUs, who knows, right? But they come and they leave. Okay, so now you have cyclicality in your business, which nobody wants, right? We want people to use it forever.
Right.
Now you compare that to how AWS works, right? So they have enterprise customers who do multi-year deals sometimes, right? So they call them the enterprise discount programs, EDPs, right? So what is the EDP equivalent for a GPU cloud? I should be able to go to an enterprise and say, well, today you spend X number of dollars on a public cloud for your AI use cases. I'll give you a better deal in your region. It's going to be sovereign. It's going to meet the GDPR, whatever requirements, whatever local compliances need to be. But you need to commit to a 2-year deal with me. If we can help customers do that, GPU clouds do that, that is no longer a cyclical business, and that's going to end up being a high utilization business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
My customers can do that because they deliver the right experience for the developer, so that they have the opportunity to talk to enterprises and say, you're going to get exactly what you get in a hyperscaler here. Better price. That's the pitch. And it works.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Now, you've kind of said that the economics of AI are pretty much a margins game, right? But with raw GPU capacity becoming more available, what makes profitability dependent on the orchestration and management?
So on Thursday, I have a talk here where I'm going to basically share the following story, okay? So I had this conversation with ChatGPT. No shame in saying these things anymore, right? Everybody does this, right? So I asked the question, hey, so let's say I'm building an app, travel agency app, and I want to use some model backend so where I can ask some questions. What should I use? And I said, well, you could use this, you could use that. There's something called DeepSeek R1. You could use that as well. Okay, I like it. What does that cost? Well, if you use it in Amazon, this is a conversation, by the way. If you use it in Amazon with Bedrock, well, you could pay $4 or $8 or, okay, I don't know how much I should pay. So let's say I have 100 requests per second. You're going to pay somewhere between $6 and $8 an hour. Okay, but how much does a GPU cost? I have no idea, right? So he said, well, GPUlist.ai says that you can rent a GPU per hour for $1.60 in the US or $1.80 depending on the company. Okay, so the thing is, like $1.60, I can go get somebody to give me a GPU with powered up, not like a GPU, powered up, capacity, cool, everything taking care of $1.60. Amazon charging me $8 and change for a model that I consume and I don't even own the GPU for the hour. That doesn't make sense. Software. The difference is Amazon is delivering an experience, not a GPU. You can get a GPU too, but I'm looking for an experience where my application wants to talk to an API endpoint securely so that I can do what I need to do in my app. What a different conversation. The conversation changes the price point. So if everybody's selling a model as a service use case, as one example, there are many other examples such as this. You're going to make more money. So why don't we do that? And the thing is, everybody understands this now. So most GPU cloud or GPU provider shops that I talk to, they all understand that they need to go up the stack and deliver value-added services. Question is how? Now, the big hyperscalers, they have tens and thousands of, I don't know how many people work there, lots of people. They build lots of software over 15 years. What are you going to do? Do you have 15 years? Do you have 10,000 developers? No, I think. Okay, so then there have to be alternatives such as, well, maybe you can buy software that can get this up and running. So we are one such company. We do a very good job of this. We have lots of great customers globally now who are GPU providers and now sell software alongside the GPUs and are able to make more margins. And I believe this is where the market is going. Obviously, this is an early market. Everything takes time. Nothing happens overnight. So people started with the fundamentals, which was let's sell some GPUs. Great. That market is here now. Okay, now let's go up the stack so we can go after the enterprise customers. At the end of the day, they're the ones who pay money. They have their money. Okay, let's service them. What do they need? If we can address that gap, they'll make money, right? But I see it now. I see that in every region, there's going to be a few viable alternatives available in every region. When I say region, I don't mean Europe. by the way.
Right.
Right? I mean, like a part of France, right?
Right.
There's going to be a 2 or 3 companies that are going to become competitors of each other, and they will all provide great value to their customers. And then in the next region, there'll be another set of people. There's going to be many, many of these. It's clear this is happening. Plus, enterprises, at least the big ones, they are making their own similar investments because they can afford it.
Sure.
And over time, actually, it's cheaper. Like going back to the same math, right? If I'm going to pay $8 an hour on Amazon and I don't even own the GPU, over time that adds up.
Right.
When you have 2 or 3 developers, it's okay. But at scale,
Yeah.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you said that you do it well with your customers. Talk me through how you engage an enterprise to get this stood up. And what have you seen in terms of developer productivity once you get these solutions deployed in your customer sites?
So my favorite customer, should I call them favorite? They pay us the most money for any customer. Maybe that makes it our favorite customer. So they, before Rafay, used to have an army of 100 plus people who maintained a platform. It's a very large company, so 100 is not that big of a number in their world. And now they don't. Now they have 3-ish people who operate the Rafay platform, and they operate 6,000 environments.
Wow.
So a developer effectively, or for the most part, a developer equals an environment in their world, right? Who use the platform on a daily basis. They don't need to talk to anybody. They show up, they press a button, probably get a coffee, environments are ready, they do their tasks and go home. Like to me, so here's an example, and I won't even use AI as a substrate for this example. If I just write Java code, I write code, I check it into a Git repo, I want to test it.
Right.
What needs to happen for me to do the test? All I should need to do is tell some system my code is here. My code is here.
Right.
Everything else figure it out because everything else is a template. In my company, we write, I don't know, Spring code, and we have a React front end and we have a MySQL backend. And most applications work this way. Okay, everything should be magic. And before my environment is created, there's a ServiceNow ticket that goes to my manager and they say approve, and when they say approve, it starts.
Okay.
Magic. This is, if you can do this for non-AI workloads, of course AI workloads, you win. We can do this.
Yes.
So, sovereign AI. Sovereign AI is getting a lot of attention, as governments and enterprises really focus on resilience and competitiveness. How do you see sovereignty really shaping kind of the next wave of AI growth? And what role does usability play in making it really meaningful?
So I think there's push and pull for any such thing, right? So sovereignty is driving people towards this notion of regional clouds. Of course, because of AI, people don't want their data, which becomes IP for them. They don't want the data to leave the sovereign border, so it must be here, which means the compute must be here as well. So that becomes an impetus for there to be GPU clouds, right? So sovereign clouds to me are no different than somebody who used to be a Bitcoin miner, now runs a cloud. By the way, there's a lot of them out there, right? It makes a lot of sense, right? There's more money to be made here. But they face the same problem. Usage, right? Usability, I should say. Usage will sometimes come because they may force people in their territory to do whatever they should do, but usability is really critical, right? Look, it's, when these things start up, I've seen this now over the last year and a half, time and time again, people don't think about the developer experience, and they learn about the sort of the underbelly too late, right? And then they run out of utilization, right? They look back over the last 6 months and like, look, I'm running at 20, 25, 30% utilization. What a terrible investment I made, right? And you have to start thinking about this on day one. So one of the things that we do with our customers is, sovereign or otherwise, is we obsess with them over the user story. Who's your customer? Internal, external, doesn't matter.
Right.
What are they going to do? How are they going to start? Where do they go? How do they sign up? I'll give simple examples. Like, so in many countries, when you go to a website and you sign up for an account, first you need to prove your identity.
Sure.
So it's called a KYC process, know your customer process, right? So how do you have a system that's going to block all requests till the KYC process is approved in another system? Yeah, we can do that, by the way. Right? So all these little things add up to deliver a good experience so that people will keep coming back. And then you have growth. Like what I'm measuring is, do my customers buy more 6 months from when they start working with us?
Right.
They always do.
That's a fantastic metric. Now, you've talked about your heritage. You talked about where you are today. We have a vastly changing landscape with AI. both from a standpoint of what the large providers are doing to train algorithms to how enterprises around the world are trying to adopt AI and transform their businesses. How do you see the fundamental platforms being challenged and the solutions that you're delivering to the market being challenged, and where are you pointed next from an innovation standpoint?
It's a forever changing market. New hardware from NVIDIA, the GB this, and I can't sometimes keep track, right? So, and of course, look, I mean, customers keep driving us for sure towards this new and new infrastructure. So for us, there's always going to be this race to make sure that we can meet the requirements for the latest, whatever technology happens to be, right? So this is not going to stop for a while because this is an early market, right? So in an early market, a lot of sins are forgiven, actually, right? Customers, because there's such a dearth of technology, right? So if you're mostly there, people are actually pretty happy with progress. And so many of our early customers, right? They see it as a badge of honor to partner with us on new technologies, right? So this has happened consistently. We found some great, very large global partners who say, okay, I'm going to go experiment. I'll tell you a specific story on this. So we have a partner who, when they hear this, they will know who they are. They have access to an amazingly large network of undergraduates in a very large country globally, where they figured out a very specific use case for data science that is taught in universities. And they have come up with a beautiful user story for how to make those students successful. And they came to us and said, let's build this together.
Sure.
And we did.
Nice.
Seems like it's all going okay, right? So we do this because, in the early days of a company, right, right now is not the time for prioritization. Right now is the time to say yes to everything. What I mean? We just got to say yes, right? Because then we'll all figure out together. Because so long as I'm committing to my partner that we are in it with you so that you can make money. And then, of course, as a result, we will make money anyway. Everybody wins, right? But the thing is, look, for that specific set of users, these students, the customer has obsessed over what is the experience going to be like. And they have now forced us to understand that, and we have to work with them to implement that as part of our templates. So long as that is the number one target, which is clarity on the user experience, delivering that with composable infrastructure. This is it. It's the premise is quite simple and clearly sound. It's just really hard to actually do. Right? And that's the beauty of the best technologies, the best companies, they work out because it's such an obvious problem. It's just hard to build.
Right.
You've heard of a company called NVIDIA, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, you've been super clear in kind of your overall, mission and vision. But can you tell us a little bit more about what your ultimate goal is for Rafay in terms of, AI infrastructure and the overall ecosystem, and how do you see this evolving over the next few years?
7 years in, I say this consciously, but then as I say it, I'm thinking, oh my God, so how long? So I feel like it's early innings, actually, right? So it's super early. We keep meeting clouds globally, or enterprises globally who are just starting their journeys, right? So what I'm thinking about is, okay, so my customer who just invested a couple $100 million, so we're working with a large SI with a company in Africa who's investing a couple $100 million, right, to deploy our infrastructure. Wow, they just started their journey, right? We're going to be with them for the next 3-5 years. Right. Where are they going to end up, right? Bigger, well, of course, right? We want them to be successful. So this journey is just starting, right? Again, we're a 7-year-old company, and I kind of feel like we're just starting. But it's been amazing. We're very blessed. We're very blessed to be where we are at this point in time, to have the solution that we have, right? It's just it's crazy times for everybody. Nobody sleeps in our company right now. By the way, nobody sleeps. Everybody's napping here and there. But what a great time to be working on a problem like this.
I love your enthusiasm and your optimism, and I share it. I work telling the stories of the industry, and I feel the same way. I'm sure that your story has inspired our audience to want to learn more about the solutions you're delivering and engage with your team. Where can folks find out more information?
Rafay.co is the website. .co, not .com. Too expensive, didn't buy it. And .ai is really, really expensive, so definitely haven't bought that yet. We're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. Happy to talk to anybody about what we do and how we can help.
Jeniece, that marks the end of another Data Insights episode. Thank you so much for your partnership, and thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me, ladies. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Allyson. This was fascinating. I can't wait to learn more.